What's up, people? This is DJ.
Hey, mi gente, this is Ish.
And this is season 2 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Salsa, mi salsa es caliente, la miel de mi fuente goza y baila mi gente.
Not while it's hurricane season.
Pero sí. No. I know we say this every year. Every year we say this. But don't you think it's rained this year more than ever?
Okay, I feel like it started raining in July. And usually we get it in August. And not when I mean raining, because it's South Florida, it always rains. Pero esa lluvia de que it's not like the usual rain of it rains for like 10 minutes and then it stops.
Right, because usually in the summer here, it'll rain like in the afternoon, when you're getting out of work.
Right, unless you're in Hialeah, then it always rains at 3 o'clock.
It'll rain in like the afternoon, like between 3 and like 5.
Right.
And then,
O un día de aguacero.
Right, like all hell breaks loose, and then it's sunshine and rainbows and birds chirping.
But no.
But now it's been like
No. Although August is always bad.
Yeah.
Don't
But
you-
now it's like been
Don't you remember a couple years ago my beach birthday bash?
that turned into like a monsoon. So are we recording?
That it was, well, we are recording.
Okay.
It was.
Well, welcome to episode 75. Esta es nuestra boda de plata. No,
it's diamond.
Diamond. It's our diamond jubilee.
Yes.
Well, no. In England, the diamond.
It's a diamond jubilee.
No, but in England, the diamond jubilee is 60 years.
Is it?
Yeah, that's when the Queen turned her reign turned 60. It was a diamond jubilee. Okay, whatever. But we're in the United States.
And when it was Mickey's 75th, it was a diamond jubilee.
Right. So, and we're kind of married. So it's
just 7.
It's 75.
Yeah, 75.
I always wanted to get to a diamond jubilee with you, Poopsie.
Aw. But not like those chocolate diamonds that they're trying to convince people are good diamonds because they have so many of them.
Oh my God. You guys listening out there, you guys have been with us for 75 episodes.
75?
That's roughly 75 weeks. That's a long time.
No, more than 75 because we have like
we've had two bonus
episodes.
So that's like 77 weeks.
Wow.
Wow. You guys are awesome.
I think that's like halfway to the gestation period of an elephant.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Isn't the gestation period of an elephant like
It's like
2 years?
2 years
a
or
year
something
and a
like
half?
that. Yeah, that's why. It's like halfway.
Wow. Vamos pa aquí, vamos pa allá.
Todo Puerto Rico. Ya que renunció Ricky.
Renunció Ricky, pusieron a Pelulisi, and
Are you making up a name?
no,
Is that a Greek
pusieron,
god?
I think his name was Pelulisi, Pierluisi.
Pierre, is that the whole, is it Pierre Luisi?
Yes,
okay.
Pierluisi, and he did not get confirmed by the Supreme Court. So,
Wait, our Supreme Court?
well,
has
their
confirmed
their
it?
their version of their local, I guess, court.
Oh, okay.
He didn't get confirmed. So then the person who's currently going to be the governor of Puerto Rico is
Olga Tañón.
that'd be kind of awesome.
Can you imagine?
Is Wanda Vasquez, who was supposed to be, but she's the one who didn't want it.
she's the one who didn't want the
Who
job.
didn't want it. So it's just,
Al que no quiere sopa le sirven dos tazas.
like it or not, And she said that she's not going to seek re-election. She doesn't want to do this.
She didn't want to do it the first time around.
Well, because the thing is that she's involved into Ricky's government.
Well, she was part of his cabinet.
Yeah, she's very involved. So the word on the street is since I know the streets of San Juan
Tell us
so
about
well.
las calles de San Juan.
The word on the street is that she's very much into the whole corruption scandals and all that. She's tied.
And she's
into
involved.
It. Yeah, she's tied into it. So that's one of the reasons she didn't want to take a government seat, because she's afraid that by her still being there, she's still like under the microscope. So
Guilty by association type of thing.
right, and then the guy that the governor Ricky, Governor Ricky Rosello or Rosello.
Is it? No, it's not Roselo.
Yeah, actually,
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, like our friend?
Like our friend.
Oh, okay.
He actually, when we were talking about this some time ago, he's like, yeah, people think I'm related to him. Or like, when I've gone to Puerto Rico, like, I think he's said that people think he's...
He has too positive an opinion of Ricky Martin to be related to him.
No, and he's not corrupt. Our friend.
Oh, yeah, I should have gone to that one first, right?
That's what I was going to say. He's not corrupt.
Okay, I should have gone that route. Yeah. Fair
But
enough.
anyway, so no, she's the... She is the new governor of
the interim governor?
Puerto Rico, the governess.
Ooh,
I like
the
that.
governess. I bet that sounds like she's just taking care of children.
Okay, the governor of Puerto Rico. So again, vamos pa aquí, vamos pa allá.
Todo Puerto Rico!
I would love to have some mofongo with chicharrones right now.
Oh, that sounds really good.
¿Te acuerdas Benny's on Corway and 107th? I think
It's
they
still
closed.
there. No.
It's still there?
I hope it's still there.
I hope it's still there too.
I hope it's still there. Actually, so speaking of things that are opening and closing, I'm just going to give a quick unsolicited, unpaid promo shout out because our girl Martha of Miami is opening
Martha.
a brick and mortar store.
Finally, Martha.
Finally,
Come on.
it's called La Tiendecita de Martha of Miami.
And
And it's going to be super cute on Sunday, August 18th.
Of course it's La Tiendecita.
Of course it's La Tiendecita. And inside she's going to have La Ventanita, where she's going to have cafecito. But on Sunday, August 18th, she's going to have her like grand opepening.
Are we going to be there? We're going to be there.
Of course we're going to be there. She's going to have her grand opening, and so you guys should all totally go out, look for it, La Ventanita. I know it's going to be on La 40
Even
y
if you're
80
not
Pico.
in South Florida, if you're in other parts of the country, or even our listeners in the Pacific, you should come
Absolutely.
to the grand opening of.
And I think go to her Instagram page because there's a code or something that if you sign up for, you can get 10% off your in-store purchase that day by signing up or whatever. So
she's still one of my favorite people that we've met through the podcast.
yeah, because she's awesome and we love her.
Not only is she awesome, but she was really able to tap into something.
Yeah.
You know, something that we all knew and something that was so part of our life, but she made it something. She made our culture in a way tangible.
Yeah.
In terms of a product.
Right.
Because you could never, culture is something that's hard to properly assess and properly define.
Yeah. Make
right?
physical.
And she turned it into something, not only a business and a profitable business, but into something tangible, like
And that resonates. It's relevant.
exactly.
Yeah.
So good for her.
Good for her. So we will always have any opportunity to promote people we love, and she's definitely one
And
of them.
soon we're going to be promoting something else on Bird Road, but that's going to shh.
Oh, that's true. Are we finally opening up a bayou?
On Bird Road?
On Bird Road.
Why not? They have the Chinese
had,
massage.
At one point, they had like 4 porn shops on Bird Road. I'm sure we can open un bayou.
Were you there the time we went to that porn shop?
I'm pretty sure you know the answer to that is yes.
That,
It was a porn shop.
I think it was one of our other friends who was going to
course I was
become
there.
a member.
Oh yeah, this was like we were like 22.
And the guy signing us up was like, he wasn't sure how to fill out the application. He goes, "Hey mom, come here and help me finish." And I'm like, "Oh my god, this is
It's a family
run
business. Yes. Well, you can't just trust anybody to run your porn shop.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, at the end of the day, it's a business.
It is.
It has to be
It's
run like any
legal.
other business. It's legal. It has to be run like any other
Yeah,
business.
exactly.
So,
And for the record, we were all there as a group. We thought it would be a lark to go rent a porno.
Yeah.
We didn't know it would require actually becoming like a member of said porn shop,
Yeah.
and there was a whole process. And
yeah. Speaking of video, you know what I saw this week on YouTube?
The Ring.
No. Oh my god. I'm still not over that movie. Like, what is it? 15
It's like
years
20
later?
years. Yeah, we're
15
still like
years
yeah.
later. No. In Bend, Oregon, they have the last Blockbuster video.
because they closed the one in Alaska.
They closed it to in Alaska.
Yeah.
And there was one in Australia.
Really?
That was open until now as well. So this is the last Blockbuster video in the world. And it's really interesting.
I'm fascinated that it's still operating.
So let me tell you how it works. It's very interesting because the first thing I thought about, I'm like, okay, obviously this was a franchise. Right? But even if it's a franchise, a corporation is defunct.
Right.
So who's supplying these people with
product.
With product, right? So the owners of this Blockbuster,
And it was still operating as a rental?
yeah, it's exactly like any other Blockbuster. They have the popcorn, they have everything, right?
Okay.
So it's really interesting because the owners, they they find their own distributors.
Okay. Well, yeah, at this point, they have to do everything on their own.
And she also, the owner, she'll go to like Best Buy or Walmart and buy like 20 of the same movie. And technically, like Best Buy or Walmart or whatever Target is not supposed to sell her.
Correct.
But the managers kind of turn a blind eye because
Aw.
it's become like a community thing. This Blockbuster that they're very proud of, because the thing is that not only do they have like the regular movies, but a lot of it is curated to the community.
Oh, okay.
So for example, there's a section in that Blockbuster that it's of like movies of up and coming directors or producers that are from Oregon,
Oh, that's cool.
or people that have some ties to the community in
Right,
some
right.
way. And I mean, obviously, you could find your big budget, big studio movies,
your Avengers
as well.
Endgame or whatever.
But that's what people really enjoy from the Blockbuster, that it's curated. So that got me going down the rabbit hole of Blockbuster of
¿Crees que tienen
YouTube.
la última película de Lupita?
I don't know if that's necessarily the demographic in Bend, Oregon.
Well, Oregon's very diverse.
And, you know, obviously a lot of people, because they were saying that a lot of people go there and take pictures there, and it's become a tourist attraction. But they're like,
true.
it being a tourist attraction is not enough to keep it open. They need members.
Well, people need to pay.
But the community is very involved. Like, they come and they, you know, they rent videos. And, I mean, there's a lot of foot traffic there. And then, you know, the people that work there, like the kids that work there, are very educated in the movie. It's like your movie geek. Remember when you would go to Blockbuster?
So it's like when, like, Tarantino.
Yeah, it's like your movie. They were like, oh, this is kind of like Bill and Ted and all these guys that were like movie geeks that worked in like video stores and all that. And then I started watching. You know, again, I went down the YouTube rabbit hole and I started watching
because CBS has been off. You haven't been able to see this on
CBS
Sunday morning.
Right? No, and The View is on hiatus. Right. What am I going to do? I don't have The View and I don't have CBS Sunday Morning due to the dispute.
Once he's done with this, we have nothing to talk about.
It's
listeners.
like I'm done.
We're done.
I'm done.
We're just going to jump to the last soda. This is going to be a 10-minute episode.
So they were saying that now because of, you know, streaming services, that the way they curate, you know, the content for you to discover is an algorithm.
Yeah.
And that's lost a lot of the, like...
There's no discovery.
There's no discovery. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no discovery. That's exactly what these reports said. I saw like 2 or 3 reports. And they were saying that in, you know...
It happens with music now, too.
What they're trying to do, whether it's through trying to revive Blockbuster Video or whatever, is that they're trying to come to a middle ground where there still can be some video stores, and as such, you know, there could be some video stores and people who want to have that experience, they can.
Well, because they still make DVDs and people still buy, you know, the box sets and the collections and things like that. Do you think it's a matter of maybe Netflix? Because I think they still offer the mail service.
No.
They don't?
No.
Oh, they officially got rid of it?
None of them do.
No. Netflix doesn't offer the mail service?
No, they don't. They haven't for quite some time.
So everything
is streaming. The only one that still exists, and it's very seldom do you see them, is Redbox, because Redbox also...
Well, they're in supermarkets. That I do see.
Yeah, but at one point in time, there were a lot of Redboxes, but now that has dwindled as well.
Oh, okay.
I'm if there was still a Blockbuster nearby, I would totally go to Blockbuster. Not that I wouldn't use Netflix and all that, but I do think there's room for both, because I found that when I would go to Blockbuster, you couldn't help but browse.
Of course.
You would pick up,
that was the best part about going to Blockbuster.
You would pick up the movie. You would read it. You would touch it. You would look at the back. And then sometimes, or most of the time, you would come out of there with a movie that you never anticipated watching.
You didn't even know it existed.
Whereas here, it's like next, click.
Well, because it's, you enjoy movies by so-and-so, boom. This is a similar movie. So it's almost like the social media effect, where you're in your own echo chamber. You know, you never step outside of that. But it's the same thing that when you and I used to go to music stores. We would spend hours browsing Virgin Megastore, Specs, all of it.
That is something.
And it was, you would walk out of there with like, I don't necessarily know what this may be, but it looks fun, and it looks interesting.
Discovered so much music through Blockbuster Music. Well, we go Blockbuster Music through like being able to listen to the CDs there.
That's right.
Because excuse me, when I was really into Britpop before, and when I mean Brit, I don't mean Britney. I mean British pop. I've been into British pop for since I was in middle school. Yeah. And I used to go to the international section of CDs.
Imports.
The imports.
We'd be paying
it's been that long. It's been that long that I use the wrong terminology.
You forgot it was called imports. We would pay $10 for a single.
Yeah. But when you would discover that music, it was awesome. And now, I mean, I know a lot of people discover music through Spotify, but I just feel it's not the same. There's something about having
tactile.
The tangible.
Yeah, that tactile experience.
Like now, you've seen, I've been buying vinyl And there's something about getting that record and opening it and like looking through the lyrics.
With the
and all
CDs, it
that.
was about the booklet art, the lyrics, the design.
What was the best feeling in the world? The best feeling in the world is when you're a 14-year-old teenager, all right, and you subscribed under one of your many aliases to Columbia House
or BMG?
or BMG, right? And you would order like 20 CDs for 1 penny, right? And then you would send in that card, and you knew it took about 2 weeks. So when it was approaching 2 weeks, every day when you get home from school, it's like, okay, is it today? Is
That
it today?
cardboard box!
Is that box here? And the day that you would come home and the box would be there waiting for you, it's like it's like the heavens open up, the music came out, the light. It's like my CDs are here. Such simple pleasures.
Okay, I need to, one of these weekends, I need to kidnap you on a Saturday, and we need to go up to Broward. There is, I told you about it, there's this record shop
Yeah.
next to my favorite comic book store, Tate's. Vinyl and CD.
Okay, we have to because one of our
And
listeners,
they're all used.
One
And
of our
I
listeners,
found a freaking vinyl Jerry Halliwell, Mi Chico Latino.
one of our listeners who he's DM'd us a few times. He's very into Mariah Carey as well as I am, and that boy goes up there and he gets like singles of Mariah Carey and all this stuff.
Dude, that
and I'm
shit
like,
I forgot existed.
yes, and I'm like, coño, like whenever I've gone to a vinyl shop, I don't find anything.
Although I felt a little sad because they had like eight CD singles of Talia's Baby I'm in Love. I'm like, oh.
What's going on?
They were all like $1.
Columbia House, man, that was the greatest thing ever.
Shit.
I liked Columbia House more because Columbia House you could return at the store and BMG you couldn't.
Oh.
Because BMG wouldn't have a
didn't know that.
barcode. BMG CDs,
Was like direct from the factory.
it would say manufactured by BMG Direct Marketing.
Those motherfuckers.
So it wouldn't have a barcode. But Columbia House did. So, whenever I didn't turn in back the little card for my featured selection. of
Whenever
the
you would
month-
get like, Vince Gill.
Yeah, Vince Gill or like, I don't know, The Grateful Dead. I'm like, I'm not going to listen to this. I will go to like, Tracks or Specs and be like, yeah, I have the CD that I got for my birthday and I want to return it.
Be like, I don't know where they got it. I don't know. And this was before Walmart too. Walmart will take anything.
Yeah. No. When it was a music store, it's like Specs and all that, you got to hustle a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know what was great when I worked at the water metering company that I worked, i.e. where the Specs was?
Yeah.
Like the original Specs on US
Where we
1.
went to get tickets for the Spice Girls first tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I worked behind, like where Swenson's is.
Yeah, you were a hop skip. Yeah.
I remember when I would get paid every Friday, not only would I go to that Specs, but next to that Specs was CD Warehouse, which was a used CD, store.
Yeah. I forgot about CD Warehouse.
That is one of the reasons why my CD collection grew to what it was. I was like 2,000 CDs. That is what
Because it was like $2 for a CD.
Yeah. That's how I bought Body Mind Soul by Debbie Gibson.
And you know what? I thank you for it because that's how I discovered that album. That album is great.
That is whatever. I wasn't going to get into it. When I was in middle school, I would buy Kylie Minogue CDs, at like $30 an album. And I'm like, ha, I like this girl, and nobody here knows her. And then,
Cut to 2019.
cut to like, what was it, 2001 or 2002 when Can't Get You
Can't Get You
Out of My Head came out. I'm like, yeah, next. I'm
You were done with her.
I'm done with that. So, anyway.
She's wonderful, though.
Columbia House, we miss you. That's never coming back.
No, I think the music industry is one of those that.
I could see music stores like as a niche coming back,
like vinyl, and
like vinyl, and even CDs.
Well, like what exists now.
You know what I was never into? I was never into tapes.
I was into tapes in the sense of when everybody had Walkmans, because that's how you would listen to stuff on the go before the Discman.
It's the very first CD I got. I didn't even buy it.
I remember my first CD. Go ahead.
What was your first CD?
No, go ahead.
My very first CD I got for my birthday in 1992. My parents gave me a boombox.
Okay.
But with a CD player. So that was my first CD player. And the first CD that I got, which they bought me, was Erotica.
They bought you Erotica?
I know, right? Because I think they just bought it because it was Madonna.
Right. They didn't really. Right. They didn't look too closely at the back of the
at the back where she
was
was sucking
her
the guy's
own
toe.
Yeah.
Or her own toe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And back then the CDs came in that long paper case.
Yes, that's right.
Which I
The
still have many
cardboard.
of them, the cardboard. Yeah, they kind of didn't. They overlooked that. But that was my first CD, and I remember. Don't you remember? I took it to school.
Yeah.
And it was like very scandalous.
Well, of course it was. It was
like,
erotica.
Shh, put it back in my book bag. It was like I took a porn mag to school.
By contrast, my first CD that I got was also for my birthday as a gift was Paula Abdul Spellbound.
SPELL bound.
Yes.
Yeah. I never.
Decidedly more
I kind of
benign.
stopped buying records in like 1990. And it's funny because Mariah's first 2 albums I bought on tape, but I never really got into tape. I just went from obviously with Mariah, I was gonna take her music or whatever medium.
Yeah, exactly.
I could take it
if it came in a jack in the box.
But the tape era for me was very short. I went from vinyl to CDs, and then I never looked back.
Well, look at that.
Yeah,
and here we are.
And here we are. Speaking of reboots and things from the 90s,
Okay.
¿Qué me dices de 90210?
You know what? I want to see it.
I saw it.
You saw it?
I saw half of it.
I haven't seen it yet because it came out as of this recording. It came out yesterday.
So I need. Okay, you had told me what the setup was, but what's weird about the setup is that it's them in real life, but it's not them in real life because
Right,
for
it's
example,
fictionalized versions.
Right, because for example, Steve is not married to Megan Fox.
You mean David?
David, I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
he's not married to Megan Fox.
Right.
So it's them, but it's not them.
They're playing fictionalized real life versions of themselves.
So, I mean, look, I think that if you enjoyed the show and you're a really big fan of the show, I mean, I see it from the point of view of like, I'll take whatever I can get from this cast.
Right.
Obviously, there's a big hole in the whole thing with Luke Perry not being there.
But what are you gonna do?
But, man, the timing, because that was filmed right after he died.
Yeah, it was. Fíjate que I think Shannon Doherty was not even going to come back. And I think that she changed her mind, like, if not like right after he died or like right before he died.
She wasn't going to come back for her health reasons because she was really sick.
But she wasn't going to do it.
Cancer.
Yeah, she wasn't going to do it. And I think because he died, she's like, you know what?
Everybody's doing. I'm going to do it
I need to
too.
do this. You know,
Right.
he's no longer there, and now it felt a little more important, I think, to her.
Yeah.
To be part of it.
Yeah. That's so sad. So sad.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's sad at any age and all that, but I mean, we talked about it
He
here
was
when
only in his 50s.
we talked about it here when it happened. It's like he was. I mean, this happens to any like heartthrob that passes away, But these are people that at one point epitomize youth and
teenage
and cool and all
right,
that,
right.
And and they fall sick and
it could happen to anybody.
Anybody.
Oye, porque eso que te da una sirimbas de la presión. That's not even. That's not like because you're an alcoholic or you're this.
Right.
No, I mean, we have a friend who has high blood pressure,
Yeah, and she's
the
thin.
thinnest of all of us,
Yeah.
and she takes care of herself, and it's that's genetics.
Speaking of reboots of the 90s, now that we mentioned 90210, ¿viste what they're going to reboot?
Well, I don't at this point.
It's like, what are they not rebooting?
Every week it's something different. Like I don't know. You could tell me.
You know what though? I gotta say, with all these reboots that you and I are now kind of trashing, and we're gonna trash probably this next one. You gotta be careful what we wish for,
Well, we're not-
because
we're
at
not
at one point in time, we were like hungry for all this stuff.
But it's like anything, then it becomes it's not special anymore.
They're rebooting Home Alone.
Oh, that's right. I saw the headline, but I haven't read about anything about it.
Yeah,
But they're turning it into like a series.
I don't know. I just heard Disney is rebooting Home Alone. So how do we feel about this?
I just think that given today's climate, I mean, if it's going to be a series, pretty much second episode is his parents wind up in jail for neglect, right? Because that's
Or he doesn't have a cell phone.
right, like because that's the only way this is going to work.
I love how in the original we kind of bypassed that.
Yeah, well, because it's one of those things where like nobody found out, but nowadays que todo mundo está metido. Like honestly, Home Alone nowadays would be just an episode of el programa ese Los Chismosos on ABC. What would you do?
I wonder. Okay, so hear me out on this.
I'm gonna look up
I wonder. Okay,
I'm gonna look it up.
if Home Alone is rebooted, and it's somewhat true to the original, I wonder it will do well for this reason. It's not even the Macaulay Culkin factor, because I believe that Macaulay Culkin was lightning in a bottle. They found like the perfect kid for the perfect role at the perfect time.
It was just all.
But let's say they find another cute kid, another cute Kevin. I feel that Home Alone was very much slapstick comedy,
which I fucking love.
Do you think that there's a market for that today?
I think there still is. Unfortunately, I think slapstick comedy has become the thing of children's what I call kid coms, like the Nickelodeon, Disney Channel type things. When I will be the first to tell you, slapstick is hard. It is not easy to land a joke and to do the timing because you saw the play that I did. It was pure slapstick, pure physical comedy. And I mean, you watch an episode of I Love Lucy and tell me that she didn't have,
There's so many factors.
It was just so many factors. Like it was all detailed. And I think nowadays people look at it as like, oh, eso cosa de ante, or that's for kids, or that's so stupid. It's
and
the
also,
same way that most people look at sitcoms. When the reality is, you have to look at a sitcom as it is a play. People just look at all that stuff now as, eso, that's just not funny anymore. Or that's, that's lower class humor or whatever. So I think people don't give it respect.
What I think will also be
deserves.
interesting is that Home Alone, the original, and I mean, you tell me here because I don't remember.
My sister loves that movie. She still laughs like an idiot.
I feel that was insofar of a family movie that people of all ages went to see that movie.
Yeah.
I wonder if now is that going to be marketed as a children's movie? Because now I feel that things are so.
It will be. They'll try to push it as a family movie,
right?
Which is what it was.
But everybody jumped on board with that movie.
No, I agree. But I think it was a family movie. But the problem is that nowadays, what it means to be a family movie is less broad than it used to be.
Right.
It's funny because this article I was trying to look to see, it doesn't tell me one way or the other if it's going to be a series other than it's on the streaming service. But it says, does the basic premise even work in the era of smartphones and rideshare apps?
No, that's why I'm saying.
Unless they remake it in that time.
I don't think they should remake it.
They don't need to. No, they don't need to. I mean, listen, Disney, it's enough that you're remaking all of these, cartoons for no reason.
I feel that the comedy on Home Alone is the type of comedy that's timeless.
It is timeless.
You don't need to reboot it. You know what? Go ahead and clean up the original movie. I don't know, make it 4K, whatever.
Right.
Ted
Turnerize it,
right? Release it in 4K and ultra
violet,
high definition that you feel you're in the movie, whatever. But I don't think it needs to be redone.
No.
I mean, I know that we have gotten to the age that it's like, but that movie's not that old. Yeah, it's 30 years old.
But it's not even about how old it is or isn't.
I feel that
need to.
if you show it to a kid now, they're still gonna laugh.
My nephews laugh.
Yeah, they're gonna laugh
at it. It's funny
because it's a type of humor that is it's not bound by time.
And there's not even anything thinking back, and again, I don't have a minutia recollection of it. It's not even one of these movies that people are like, well, we're going to remake it because there's problematic areas. No, there isn't.
And also, that movie has aged very well because there's things that we watch now from the 80s or even early 90s that we kind of watch it now for kind of a little bit of a camp and kind of a little ridiculousness factor.
Yeah.
That's like, oh my God, look at I feel that's the case with Saved by the Bell, Saved by the Bell.
It's not going to age well.
Yeah, Saved by the Bell doesn't age well, but we look at it now through 2019 eyes and we're like, oh my God, look at Zach's phone and look at the pants and the way. That's not even the case with Home Alone.
Because there's nothing overtly of its time period.
Yeah, it's just them, going on vacation and leaving the kid behind.
Yeah. We still use planes.
Yeah.
We still go to Paris.
Oh, I wonder if there's a sequel to the reboot if Donald Trump is going to be in it.
Oh.
That's one of those few movies, and, maybe you feel differently, that I think the sequel was just as funny as the first one.
I don't remember the sequel. I may not have even seen it.
With Tim Curry?
I may not
at the Plaza Hotel.
I know the whole premise, but I don't think I've
Oh
seen
my
it.
God, it's amazing.
Really?
Yes, it's so good.
I love the first one.
There was a third one, right?
There was a third one without Macaulay Culkin.
Well,
because at that point he was 18. It's like you're home alone. I mean, okay, great. They did. I think it was 3 movies and 2 made-for-TV movies. There was one with I think Karen Duffy in one of them.
Wow. Well. There we go.
I don't know how many of our listeners even know who Karen Duffy is, but...
Wait, who's Karen Duffy? I have a brain fart.
The VJ? Duff?
Oh, Karen Duffy! Oh, we love Karen Duffy.
She's gorgeous.
With her bob.
Yeah, she always had short hair, and she had that Victoria Beckham cut before Victoria Beckham did.
She was wasn't she in a Neutrogena commercial?
Yeah, she was in all the Neutrogena
along
commercials.
Along with Rebecca Gayheart?
Right, it was her, Rebecca Gayheart, and then Mandy Moore.
Yeah.
and Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Those were some fun times.
That's when you knew you made it as a female celebrity. when Neutrogena came and told you you have oily skin. That's when you were it.
I want to bring something up that our friends at the podcast that we were talking about, the
Spanish Aki Presents.
Spanish Aki Presents, which
Yes.
we posted something in our Instagram about them this week. I mean,
Listen
hey,
to them, guys.
if you like us,
Yeah,
don't stop listening to us.
No, absolutely not. There's enough for everybody.
But if you like us, you'll love them. I mean, it's kind of like
it's us times two.
there's four of them. But it's kind of like a little bit of this. I don't want to say similar setup because they certainly have their own thing, but it's a little bit of the same feeling. You know, they're all Latin, but
two of them are from Miami,
raised here from Miami as well. One is Colombian, one is Puerto Rican.
The girl's Cuban. Raisa's Cuban. And I don't remember what the other guy is.
So I was listening to a few of their episodes, and I totally loved them. And it's funny because they talked about something that I kind of had wanted to bring up in our conversation eventually.
Okay.
It's not something that's topical. But
here we are.
They talk about Selena merch.
Oh,
And,
Selena.
and it's funny because that's something that, again, I wanted to bring up whenever. Wherever.
You know what's gonna happen now? I'm gonna want pizza.
So what they were saying, which I agree with, is that Selena, at least in terms of merchandise, has reached a level which, again, is good for the Selena brand.
Right.
That you'll have, a kid that's like 16, 17, wear the Selena shirt because it's a cool thing to do, and probably the only song they know is Beady Beady Bum Bum,
Which is, in all fairness, a great song.
Nothing is taking away from the
Nothing's
song,
taken away from it.
but that
How long has it been now that she died?
it's been 24 years. She died March 31st, 1995. I will never forget that date. Never. Like that.
24.
That is like ingrained in my mind.
How old was she when she passed?
23.
So she would be. I don't do math. So
She would be 47.
Oh my god, Selena would be almost 50.
Yeah, she'll be 47. Yeah. Wow. Oh yeah, we're not the only ones that age.
No, I know, but it's just funny because it's like, I mean, especially when people pass away, you stop thinking of them as as older.
And so what do you think about that? Do you think that she has reached that kind of iconic level? Like, I don't know, maybe like the Rolling Stone and the Beatles and stuff like that, of people that are just, they're icons. So people wear their merch because they're icons and really don't know, not so much for their music or whatever their platform was, and more because of who they are.
I think she's in a very, very odd subset of iconography, which is people who died very young, and who we will never know how far the career would or would not have gone. You know what I'm saying? So she's in the same realm now as a Jimi Hendrix, a Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse.
It's funny you say that because they said something on there
because
that I totally agree with. It's kind of like they were reading my mind. They said something on there that they were like, "How many people do you see that are like, I don't know, teenagers or even in their 20s? They're young and they're in a Jimi Hendrix t-shirt."
Yeah, and they don't know his music.
Right. So
I think she's definitely part of that club. It's a very, very select club, and it's a very horrible club to be a part of.
Yeah, no.
If you really stop and think about it. But she's definitely part of that world. Excuse me. Further to that, though, is because she's Latina, it almost elevates her to another level. Because now she's not only part of this, gone so soon, but now she's gone so soon, and she's one of us.
right.
You know what I mean? It's very,
Right.
it's a very different.
Mira, when they were talking about that, I thought about the time some years back, maybe I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years back, that I had bought a Beatles T-shirt, and I bought the T-shirt because it was really cool. I had like a picture of them that I really liked, and I like the Beatles. I mean, I have a couple of their CDs of like their greatest hits or whatever, and I certainly acknowledge what they did for music and the importance and relevance that they had and continue to have in music. But the Beatles music is not something that has been the soundtrack of my life.
And it will never be.
And again, there's songs of theirs that I really love. I love
Right,
Hey Jude and Yesterday and Golden Slumbers, and I can name a bunch that I love those songs. But those songs, to me, I like them, but they're not meaningful in terms of me growing up or whatever. They don't have a relevance in terms of my life.
Right.
And I stopped wearing this shirt because I'm like, this is kind of inauthentic.
Did you really?
I did because
even though you genuinely like the shirt.
I only wore it a couple of times because I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna look like this total Beatles like diehard fan that I'm not. And
really,
yeah, I didn't wear it. I didn't wear it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't wear it.
That's interesting. It's funny because I had something like the opposite happen to me actually a couple weeks ago at work. I had bought the shirt at Uniqlo. Like it's this. I think I've probably worn it around you. It's just a regular T-shirt. It's striped. It looks like a sailor shirt. And then over the left breast, like where the pocket would go, it has a little embroidered like banana. Okay. Now the reason I bought it is because it's part of this collection that they had for Andy Warhol. Now, as you know, I love pop art. Roy Lichtenstein is my favorite artist. Andy Warhol. I love all of that. And that's why I bought it, because I was like, if you know, you'll get it. But if you don't, it'll just be like, oh, what a cute shirt.
It was a guy with a banana.
It wasn't blatant. No, because the banana is literally like
Right.
So I was at work the other day, and this guy was walking by, and he's like, hey, I really like your shirt. It reminds me of, and I turned around, and when he saw the banana, he's like, Andy Warhol. Yeah, I see the banana. Da, da. And it felt like this. I'm like, okay,
Mister, don't touch the banana.
yes, I'm gonna get one that has a banana on one breast and Willie Chirino's face on the other one.
That'd be kind of amazing.
We're making that shirt, by the way. But this is happening.
That's amazing. We come up with all these great ideas when we're recording.
and it's good that it's on on tape or SIM card.
Like we see going no and a banana.
The banana. But it made me feel like, okay, cool, because now I'm wearing this shirt that somebody else gets, and so it's a shared experience. But if nobody else knows it,
Right.
whatever, it's a cute shirt. So I had, it's interesting that you say you wouldn't wear it, because I guess in that's a weird, because I probably would never bought a Beatles shirt to begin with. But it was a nice feeling to have somebody
but
recognize
Andy
the shirt.
Warhol is something that
Even more obscure to the average person nowadays
Andy Warhol?
than the Beatles.
No. Well, yes and no.
The average
yes and
person,
no.
the average person nowadays probably
Doesn't know who Andy Warhol is?
would have to think about it. Y mucho más if it's one of his pieces that's not a Campbell soup can or Marilyn Monroe.
Okay, fine, but people know the name.
They might, or they might be like, it sounds familiar. I'm talking about the average person.
But yeah, no,
compared to the Beatles.
I didn't wear. Well, no, obviously the Beatles are more well known. But yeah, I'm like, this is kind of like not authentic.
So funny.
Yeah, because I'm like, this is not really me. I bought the shirt, and I feel. And I've said
So
this
why did
before,
you buy the shirt?
because I thought the shirt was cool.
You just like the design?
I like the design. Like
Okay.
the shirt, I still have it. The shirt was white, and then it had this picture of them, which, the picture was in black and white.
Okay.
But then it said the Beatles in like hot pink.
That's okay. First of all, you would never wear hot pink.
I know, right?
Like that is the reason I would think you would
And I
stop
thought
wearing
the shirt was really cool. And I don't know, whatever. And I wore it a couple of
interesting.
times, but then I'm like, I'm not really I'm not enough of a Beatles fan to be wearing a T-shirt.
You felt like a fake fan.
Well, not
type
even.
of thing, like-
I'm not enough. If I'm going to wear a T-shirt, as we've
Advertise
discussed here,
something?
if I'm going to wear a
Right.
band or somebody's face on a T-shirt,
I damn well better.
I know about that person, and that person is a big deal to me, right?
It means something to you.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. And I wore it only a couple of times. I would totally wear a Selena T-shirt, but then again,
But Selena means more to you than the
Like,
Beatles, right?
I know Selena.
You
and
know the exact date
I
she
know
died.
all her songs.
Right.
It's funny because a couple of weeks ago, remember when I got you the Britney T-shirt before we went to Vegas?
Yeah, baby.
I had in my hand to buy, and this was one of these things that if you would have been there, you would have hit me over the head and you were like, buy it. But you know me, Mr. Conservative. Well, no, I'm not conservative, but you know me. For me.
Clothing wise, you're more so than
they
me.
had an NSYNC T-shirt with their
Target?
At Target with their
I
first
know the shirt
album,
you're talking about.
with their first album. I'm like, I'm totally gonna buy this. I'm totally
I've
gonna
almost
buy
bought
this
that shirt 4 times.
and rock this shirt, you know. And I was like, I'm gonna wear it with like, you know, my Jordans and like whatever.
You should have bought that shirt.
And I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna buy it because then it's gonna be weird. And,
Why?
You know, and I could just imagine, you know, my brother being like, hey, you're wearing
But so he doesn't have to wear it.
and whatever. You know what? You should take me to
I'm
Target.
gonna take you to Target right when we Target's open till 11. When we are done, we're gonna go buy the damn NSYNC t-shirt. This year, I almost bought it like 4 times, but every time, like one time instead I bought a Britney shirt, the other time I bought a Cruel Intentions shirt, another time I bought a Golden Girls shirt.
This reminds me of So our good friend, friend Stephanie from Mamas and Merlot. So Stephanie, when you listen to this episode, a little shout out to you.
We're getting a text.
Stephanie and I sometimes get a little DM,
Like you have a DM versation.
yes, and yeah, she went to the Jonas Brothers concert this week, and I was kind of telling her it was so funny because she was so like ready to get defensive because I thought that the song in the year 3000 was like
That's not their song.
Actually, I thought that song was like a joke. I didn't think it was a real song.
Oh, okay.
I
Song,
honestly,
the first time I heard that song was by this British boy band called Busted.
okay, I thought that song was like a promotional song or like the intro to Phil of the Future, like anything but a real song. And it's funny because one of the clips on her IG stories was of that song, and I'm like, "Oh, I thought that song was a joke." And she's like, "Don't you even dare!" And I'm like, "Listen, no hate to the Joe Bros.
No, you like the Jonas Brothers, yeah.
She was like ready to like come to my
She was
house,
taking off her
and,
earrings.
like, kick my ass. But anyway, I start telling her, "You know this about me," but she was like, "Okay, this is a little weird." I start telling her, "You know, I don't know too many of the Jonas Brothers songs, but I do remember their album covers. Like I remember that one album cover that it's like a white wall and they're dressed in white with like scarves or like
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and it says Jonas Brothers in like script
that script font.
And then
yeah.
I remember the other album that was them with umbrellas in Times Square, and she's like, "Okay, that's a little weird." And I'm like, I don't know why, which is true, and you know this. I have a really random. Well, I have a good memory.
Yeah, no, my God, you do.
But I have a good memory for album covers.
You do.
Like,
and album
even if
covers
it's
that
somebody
you just
that I don't-
saw like on a display at at Specs.
Do you remember
once.
the album cover to that girl Poe? That it was like her face.
Wasn't that the one with the
circle?
ball?
Yes.
Yes.
But then her hands were on her face.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I remember. Like, and it's albums that I didn't even buy of people.
I have
that
no interest.
Like, I'll never forget the album to Terry Ellis's from In Vogue. Her,
Yes, that's the one where she's wearing a hat.
Yes. Oh, you're pretty good too with like a green background. Southern gal. I remember that. I have a really good memory for album covers. Mind you, I may not know the artist or a single song on the album, but I remember the damn album cover.
God,
So
this is
Stephanie
great.
was a little weirded out. She's like, well, okay. And I'm like, no. You don't know.
This is just a thing. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Like,
Wow, I haven't thought about that about the Terry Ellis album.
I think a lot of people haven't thought about the Terry.
She hasn't thought about the album.
Mira para que tú veas, because that song came out, that her solo project came out in the height of In Vogue, and it went nowhere.
Bueno, but that's like esta Nicole Scherzinger when she released her solo album at the height of Pussycat Dolls and nobody cared.
So yeah, I have a really good memory for album
You
covers.
really do. See, that's something that's a skill that's going to be lost now.
Oh, because now
Because you can't memorize something when it's that small on your phone, and if
Yeah.
you're not even looking at your phone when it plays.
No, because I would always see these CDs we go back to CDs at the store. I would see them over and over again. I'm like, what is that? Like, but I would keep seeing it over and over again.
That's why I bought the Josh Groban album.
No, wasn't it Michael Bublé you bought
No.
because of the cover?
No. I bought the Josh Groban album that it's the orangish, which
Yeah.
is like 3/4 of his face
Yeah.
and whatever. Because during that time I was working at Carnival, and sometimes during lunch, actually a lot of times during lunch, I would just go to the Target that was like maybe 10 minutes away, and I would just spend my lunch walking there. And there was always this giant thing, like when you would walk in, there was a sign for Josh Groban. When you walked to the CD section, was Josh Groban. There was a little sign, and then Josh Groban. After like about a month, I literally walked in, I picked it up, I walked to the register, and I'm like, you know what, Josh Groban, you win.
You win.
You win. You win. I'm buying it. I never listened to it.
That's
but I
like-
was like, you win.
Anytime somebody takes a really up close picture of themselves, of their face, like really up close, and it's in a blue hue, I'm like, mira, un día normal. You know which one that one is,
Wait.
right?
Wait. Un día normal. I know this. That's going to kill me.
Mind you, I don't like him. I don't like any of his songs. Sorry, people.
It's not Juanes, is it?
Juanes.
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
Día normal.
Oh, do you know that for some reason I've seen Juanes in concert like 5 times? There was like a 2-year span where every time I would go to an event, because I mean,
Juanes, come to our show.
because of what because of advertising, I would always go to events and it would always be like, oh, Juanes is performing. Juanes is performing. Oh, I have tickets to the Juanes concert. Oh, I went to his Unplugged.
You went to his Unplugged?
I went to his Unplugged for MTV3.
Oh. And you couldn't go to Talia's Unplugged?
I'm telling you, I've seen Juanes live 4 or 5 times. I'm not that big a Juanes fan.
Clearly.
but there we are.
There we are. Un día normal.
Un día normal.
So yeah, I have good memory for album covers. So anyway, bueno, let's switch it up a little bit.
All right.
To something not funny at all.
A little more serious.
So we couldn't have this week's episode without talking about
what
the
happened?
shootings in Dayton and El Paso. So I believe this was the 281st and 82nd mass shooting in the United States this year. And we've talked obviously about gun violence and mass shootings here. In fact, I think
I'm almost of 2 minds of talking about it because we have to, but
I think our second or third episode
Our third.
was of Parkland.
Parkland. We did 3. I think it was 3.5 actually.
And when we did that episode and episode subsequent to that, we said here on our little podcast that something felt different about Parkland in terms of government action or some type of
It was like
action.
a movement. Something was happening.
I went to, and we even talked about, I went to the March for Your Lives protest last year.
That's right.
But, obviously,
Here we are.
282 at this point mass shootings, and it's only August.
I do have a question about that statistic though, and again because
What quantifies a mass shooting?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I tried to look it up myself. I mean, obviously, I would believe that it constitutes multiple people in probably some type of...
Because I would also, in my humble opinion, again, I'm not an expert on any of these things, I would almost want to dig into the data and kind of extrapolate from that number anything, for instance, that's gang related.
I don't think it includes crime or like domestic violence, like traditional crime, like
so it's not like somebody
robbery
or if somebody's depressed and shoots their family and
or
then kills
like you
themselves.
shoot up
That's
in
not
7-Eleven or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
The thing is that
And I say that,
well,
only,
I didn't
I
know-
say that only because I don't feel like I've heard 280
I didn't know this because
instances.
it just there's a lot of mass shootings that happens that just don't get reported
Okay.
because they're mundane. Maybe not enough people died. Maybe it wasn't like, in a high profile place.
Okay.
But anyway, so here we are again, and here we're gonna be again. So, so what do we have to say about this?
I don't honestly, I don't have anything to say about it in the sense that
Well, we have to say something because we're on Pero let me tell you.
I said in the sense that, which means I was going to keep saying something. I don't know what else there is to say. I think, and you said something to this effect, if not these exact words. Once they massacred a classroom of toddlers and nothing happened, that was it.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever happen. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, once as a country, we all kind of went, well, that happened. What's Kim Kardashian up to?
Yeah.
That was kind of the signal that nothing really will ever happen. I think
But do you think and this is kind of where I want to go at.
And I hate to sound cynical because you know that I'm not a cynical person. I mean, I'm probably one of the most optimistic people in the world. But this happened in Texas. Texas is a carry state, isn't it? Like what?
Yeah.
Allegedly,
Aren't most people in Texas packing?
Isn't the argument that this doesn't happen when everybody's got guns? Well, don't most people have guns in Texas, and yet this happened? I mean,
look, this is and we've talked about it here before. This is a multi-layered
it's not a simple solution
solution
at all.
because you can't, because every single time that this happens, the conversation gets hijacked by the two polar extremes.
Absolutely.
It gets hijacked by the people who want to ban all guns,
and then
it got hijacked by the people that no, you can't touch our guns.
Who want a gun at every buffet.
Right. it gets hijacked by two, and then
somewhere in the middle is where the conversation
is
has
where
to
everybody
happen,
else is,
and it never does.
And I've said this here time and time again. I don't like guns. I did not grow up in a house with guns.
I don't have any problems with guns.
I didn't grow up in a household with guns. I don't care to have a gun. It's not something I'm interested in. I don't care for gun culture. I don't care for none of that.
Like, I'm dying to go to a shooting range.
But with that said, I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in the Constitution. The Constitution is a package. So that is on there. And we can discuss all day what the Second Amendment means or doesn't mean, because, like any piece of historical reference or anything in the Constitution, well, I mean, that's what constitutional law is about.
Right.
It's what does this mean? So we can argue the historical content, accuracy, and meaning of what our founding fathers meant in the Second Amendment.
Their intent was
for till kingdom come.
Right.
But it is on there. It is on there, and that's the thing. That's why, although for me it's not something that's important, it is on there, and we do in this country have a right to bear arms. I don't think it's that simple. In terms of, even if, like, let's say this would never happen, but let's say they did ban all guns tomorrow. This is not going to end that problem, because in a lot of these shootings, these people bought these guns legally.
Well, that's the issue at hand, and that's where I have a problem with some of the counter arguments, which is, well, people who are evil and people who are bad are going to find a way to cause harm. I don't disagree with that statement. I think that if you are somebody who is intent on carrying something out, you may find you're going to look for the way to do it. Right. However, what I will say is, if there is something in place to make it a little harder, some people either may get discouraged or may get found out sooner.
I had a conversation with my cousin about this this week, and he's a gun owner, and he said something that really kind of astounded me in a way, because he said that when he carries, and he does carry, it's a responsibility, right?
Okay, well, that's a good way to look at it.
People are like, oh, because it's my right to carry a gun, and blah, 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 blah. But he's like, no, when I'm carrying a gun on me, it's a responsibility. I have a responsibility, whether it's his own safety or putting his gun in a way that is not going to harm others, whatever.
Right.
But it's a responsibility. And he also said something
that's a sensible way.
He also said something that I thought was interesting, because I'm not a gun owner and I've never.
It's just not something you think about.
It's not something that I'm familiar with in terms of the process.
Right.
He was explaining to me that because he's had a conceal or permit for so long, and he did pass a psychological evaluation. He could go
to get a concealed. You have to pass.
Yes,
okay.
He could go get a weapon right now because he's already been cleared, right? And he's had it for several years, so he could go buy a weapon right now. Like you go buy a pair of shoes. And he kind of said something.
So let me get this straight. If I go to get a driver's license after a certain age, I have to retake certain tests.
Yes.
But if I pass a psych test once.
Yes. That's what he was saying. He was saying, like, I passed my psychological evaluation X years ago. It's been a while. He's like, what has happened to me in those years? What about if I have PTSD? What about if I have depression? Whatever plethora of matters.
Yeah.
He's like, I would not, and he's like a gun owner, and he's very happy and proud to have his guns. He's like, that's something that I would be open for, that they have, a psychological reevaluation every year, every 18 months, every 2 years, whatever amount of time.
See, but that's the type of sensible
reform
that I think.
And then I was telling him, look, and which is just my opinion, the problem is not responsible gun owners. That is not the problem. Yeah. The problem is people that buy these guns who shouldn't. That's why I believe that this is it's a very multi-layered, this is not just about gun laws. Part of it is, but it's not about gun laws. This is a lot about mental health. And what's just infuriating is that you have to start somewhere. Right. And nothing ever gets done.
Well, what's infuriating is a lot of times the extreme right, will say things like, "Well, it's about mental health. We have to make mental health a priority." Okay, I don't disagree. So what are you doing to make healthcare options available to these people?
Right.
Oh, well, but we have to. No, entonces you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Mm-hmm. And what bothers me is, again, back to, because I think that what your cousin said is fantastic. I think those are sensible, common sense, things that I think in general most people can rally around.
I think that most
would not
people
be-
that are responsible gun owners and understand what having a gun is, and as he said, a responsibility. I think that most people that are gun owners would probably be open to some type of sensible gun reform.
But
right?
it pisses me off when people say things like, well, but but you know what, fine, you're going to put that law in place, but people are still going to go out and get guns illegally. I'm like, okay, so then let's get rid of drunk driving laws. Let's get rid of,
Right.
let's just have anarchy. Let's just have anarchy then.
Right.
Because because we have all these other laws in place and people still go and steal, people still go and do things. So why bother having any laws?
Because a lot of these people that do these shootings, and this is something that, I mean, obviously has to be studied more from a psychological perspective. It's like anything else. If there's some type of deterrent,
That's what I'm saying.
there, maybe it won't solve the whole problem.
But if one person less who gets
one less
that gun
mass
that
shooting,
shouldn't have it,
is
that's one less.
It's a win.
That's a win.
It's a
I'm
win
gonna
at
take it
this
as a win.
point.
I'm gonna take it as a win.
The way that we are, it's this point, and it's just
When you apply for a gun, and again, I've never done this, but when you apply for your gun permit, I know that they do a criminal check. Do they make you take some type of psych eval? Not for a concealed, for just to go out and buy a gun. I know that there's a 7-day period or whatever, but do they also? Is there some type of?
I believe there is.
Okay,
believe
I
there
genuinely
is.
did not know.
So yeah, I mean, again, this is a situation that gets hijacked by both sides, and then nobody gets anywhere. The NRA is a self-serving, organization, and as I tell people, the NRA is the most powerful organization in the country, probably more powerful than like the Secret Service. Like,
I don't doubt it.
And it gets lost in this fodder of people that want to ban all guns, and then people that's like, you can't touch my guns at all.
I love how it always runs to that. It's just like, oh, they're gonna come take our guns away. It's like, no, you can keep your guns, sunshine. I just want people who shouldn't have one
And listen,
for it to be a little more difficult.
I put on my personal Instagram, I put that statistic of like the developed countries in the world and mass shootings.
Yeah.
We're 280 some mass shootings, and the other developed world countries in this world are in the single digits. Okay, that has to mean something. That's just not.
It's not random.
It's not random.
It's not coincidence.
People in Europe think that we live in the wild, wild west, and to a certain extent, they're right. Right? A mass shooting could happen anywhere, but it doesn't happen with the frequency that it happens here, and the data shows it. Right? The data shows it.
Darian, that's fake news.
No, it must be. The data shows it. So
That data's wrong. Global warming is wrong. It's all wrong.
but I mean, even in our own social collective, I mean, when Columbine happened, everybody was outraged, right? Because those type of things didn't happen here. Mass shootings were not something that occurred here. That's not to say there weren't shootings. That's not to
Listen,
say there weren't
At
crime.
that point, that only happened in the Pearl Jam song Jeremy. Okay?
Such a good song.
That is such a good song.
At home, drawing pictures with him on top. No, como es? Golden yellow sun, arms raised in a V. The deadly impulse of maroon below. They made one video, but man, was it good.
Impactful to this day.
But anyway,
But yeah, but you're right. It wasn't again.
It would
listen,
happen
after Sandy Hook. Nothing happened after Sandy Hook. Nothing's gonna happen.
I mean, two happened in one day and one weekend.
and nobody and that's it. And we're not gonna do anything about it. We're not gonna do anything about it.
So let's talk a little bit about the one in El Paso, and actually the one in Dayton. I had a little bit of a scare because I have a very good friend of mine in Dayton.
I feel like I don't know enough about the one in Dayton because I feel like for some reason the El Paso one has got a little more coverage.
I have a very good friend of mine in Dayton
I
who
know.
I called and texted, and she did not get back to me, and I was like,
Oh shit!
because Dayton is not a big
Yeah,
town.
it's not like Manhattan.
But I finally got in contact with her.
Good.
But in El Paso. So what do you think about the case of El Paso being called domestic terrorism?
I think. Well, okay. let me ask a silly question at first because I know that you're a lawyer. I know that when it first came out, they were like saying that that there was an online screed against Hispanics allegedly posted by the guy. Did they confirm that it was by him or no? Have they confirmed that?
I'm not sure.
Because I kept seeing allegedly. So I don't, and I bring this up because that's going to impact my answer to your question. Because if he posted it, absolutely domestic terrorism. If he did not post it, then it's just
I think it's domestic terrorism either way.
both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No. I thought you were asking about El Paso specifically because of
When the Pulse nightclub
because of the posting.
when the Pulse nightclub shooting happened, they called him terrorism because he was Muslim.
Well, but also they called it terrorism because it was specifically targeting the LGBTQ community.
Right. But you can make a lot of art. But the reason why it was called terrorism, right? No, because there's a difference between terrorism and a hate crime.
True.
Right?
True.
Right. So you could make the argument. I mean, when the Pulse nightclub shooting happened, there were people who were even saying it was an anti-Hispanic, like a hate crime. Also,
Yeah, because that was a heavily Hispanic club.
Night, right?
Yeah. That was like,
and then other people thought that it was just random. This guy just randomly went to this club.
Right.
But whether it was whether he wanted to attack, a gay club because it was a gay bar or it was Hispanic night
or whatever.
We could argue whether it was a hate crime or not, but it was considered at that point, domestic terrorism because he was Muslim.
Right.
So, or in terms of the media, they certainly made a big deal about being domestic terrorism and him being Muslim. So how is that any different than anybody who does this who's white American?
Oh no! I don't disagree with you. I was just trying to answer the question that was domestic terrorism. That was domestic terrorism.
Well, Timothy McVeigh was domestic terrorism. Period. Like from the get-go.
The Unabomber, right. Domestic terrorism.
How is him blowing up a federal building any different than somebody going and doing a mass shooting where 30 people died?
Because then when you're attacking the government and the other one you're not. I think that may be a technical, because of federal building. I think that may be why.
That it was domestic terrorism?
Maybe.
Oh, because terrorism is terrorism. Terrorism doesn't.
No. I know, but I'm trying to say. But terrorism. I'm trying to figure it out.
Terrorism is not determined on where it is. True. I mean, look, the biggest terrorist attack in our country happened in 2 civilian buildings.
True.
I mean, because you can make an argument that the Pentagon is, federal.
Right.
But the World Trade Center was a civilian, public building.
Yeah.
Or
privately
not
government.
I mean, that was terrorism.
No, that's true. I mean, again, I'm not. It's funny because I'm. Like,
look.
It's because I'm not arguing against what you're saying.
Labeling this domestic terrorism isn't going to change anything. The problem.
Yeah.
But I mean, they did. They did, and I was very happy that they did. Now let me ask you something. This is a little thought. This is a little.
Can I bring something up though?
What?
Because we did mention the screed that this person, whomever it wound up being, this alleged person. Post. I actually took a screenshot of it. He was saying that whoever posted it, that these actions, this is a response to the Hispanic invasion. Let me be very clear about something.
Tell him, Soulja Boy.
We are here, and we're not going anywhere. So, por mucho que tú intentes, speak English. Go back to where you came from. You know what, bitch? I'm from here.
Do you want to blow the mind? This is our learn section.
Okay.
Of the show.
Y yo estoy esperando el día que yo esté en una área pública y que alguien me diga to speak English.
Okay. Do you want to blow the mind? Do you want to blow the mind of whoever says that to you, or whenever you hear it? With jackasses saying that, you want to blow their mind? Tell them, hey. The United States doesn't have an official language.
They don't. They don't. But I'm dying for somebody to say something like that to me so that I can turn around and be like, number one, I wasn't talking to you. Number two, if I was, you would know it. Number three, Number three, you're not going to understand this, pero vete para la resingada la madre que te parió y ojalá que te pate un rayo por el culo.
Actually, I was going to go with, because after this happened, a lot of people started blaming the president.
Well, it doesn't help.
So you're of that mindset?
I'm of two minds with this because I hate to be part of that bandwagon that's like, this is the only reason this happened. You know what I mean? Like, and to your point, it's bigger. It's bigger than that. But I will say, I think you can't, again, talking out of both sides of your mouth, you can't go around and blame the media for certain things. And then when people come back and say, well, but the things you said, oh, no, but that's not the way that works. It's like, well, yeah, technically it's the same thing.
I don't blame him for what happened in El Paso. I don't blame the president.
I don't blame him, but
I certainly don't think that
help.
his comments and the comments of his administration, specifically in this case, we're talking about Hispanic and Latin culture, help.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't help.
It doesn't help.
The rhetoric.
Because you have to remember that there's crazy people out there.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. These are the same people who are like, oh no, but we have to curb violence in video games because that's what's leading to these types of actions. But then they still go out and say these.
It's funny because just now, so he got a lot of pushback when he both visited El Paso and Dayton. There were a lot of people who were like, get out of here, whatever.
But he did.
And look, I give him credit for going. I mean, he's a president of the United States. He has to go.
Right.
And he went and he spoke. Whatever, it was fine. I'm not going to trash him for that. What I think was really interesting is that when he went to Dayton, the mayor of Dayton, her name is Nan Whaley, I believe, and Nan Whaley, I'm sorry, in her like kind of press conference, she stated that she and the people, she's a Democrat, she and the people of Dayton were thankful that he came and he went and met people in the hospital and stuff like that.
She was civil. She was
civil. She did grill him on gun laws, and she's like, I talked to him about gun laws. I don't know if he and his administration were going to do that, but I had to. Right. There's video of her saying this, that we were thankful that we appreciate
there's a record.
There is a record. There is video. I saw the video, right? And then later, D said, he shoots back and he's like, oh, those people in Ohio, I met with like the mayor and like the governor and, they're making it political. They said in some press conference that it wasn't appropriate for me to come. And I'm like, but I saw the press conference. That's not what they said at all. Yo creo que él se olvida that we live in a high-tech age that, like, everything you say is recorded. I'm like, but that's not what they said. It's on video. Like, it's on video. I saw it with my two eyes and heard it with my ears. Like, that's not what she said.
That's great.
But then his people are like, oh,
they can't be bothered. They can't be bothered to look elsewhere.
He went over there. They ate him alive, and he was trying to do good. I'm like, right, but that's the problem with. That's one of the many problems that I have with him. Just when you think he's taking a step forward, they're like, okay,
right,
okay,
we're making progress.
Okay, he said something that's not horrible.
Right.
I'll take it.
The bar is so low.
The bar is so low at this point. Okay, he's not saying something where he's offending half of the world and telling the other, half of the world to go fuck themselves. Right? I'm like, okay, I'll take it. But then, just when you think that you're like, okay. He said
almost.
Then abre la boca and it's like, okay.
Suelta las mismas sandeces de siempre.
Estamos como opposites attract. 2 steps forward, 2 steps back.
He'd probably find a way to blame MC Scat Cat for something.
So there's something I want to also talk to you that's Trump related. Okay. And I don't know. I think this is like very debateful in this cancel culture that we live in. Okay. So it was.
By the way, that thing, I saw the Black Lady sketch show.
Oh, the one that
I saw that you posted, but I actually saw the whole episode.
Well, I posted it on my personal Instagram.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Do you think Gina Torres is in it?
Yes, and Kelly Rowland.
Yeah, Kelly Rowland.
Actually, there was and Amara La Negra. There was 2 Afro Latinas
because
on that
it's funny because I
episode.
started watching it because that's totally my type of humor that I love, and I didn't really know everybody that was going to be in that one episode.
No, me neither.
And I was like, look at
everybody's there.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it was great.
It's hilarious. And you know what I love about that type of show? And like, for example, have you finally seen Dear White People?
No, I haven't got to.
Is that it's irony. Humor that is ironic
is so hard to do.
It's so good because like in Dear White People, if we're getting a little bit
off topic, but I'm sure we can make our way back.
The show Dear White People, which the 3rd season just came out on Netflix. you know, she's like this black activist, and she's like, you know, I'm tired with the oppression of the white man, and the white man has oppressed us long enough. But she's also half white, and she's in love with a white boy. So
She has a
it's
great
like-
relationship with her father.
yeah,
Like,
no, oh my gosh,
yeah.
she's totally daddy's little girl.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I love about it. That the ironies, you know,
Right.
the paradox,
Right.
and that's. I have to say that irony is a sense of humor that not everybody gets.
Well, no, most people don't get sarcasm either.
Yeah, that not everybody gets it. Oh man, I was about to this week text you on something. So this week on my personal Instagram, for those of you who follow me on my personal Instagram, DJ Borges19 at Instagram.
Shameless plug.
I like to be really with my Instagram stories. I like to be like really funny sometimes. And this week I posted out of nowhere a little piece of the video of That's What Friends Are For.
Oh yeah, I didn't know you hated that song so
I
much.
fucking hate that song.
I didn't
so
know you
much.
hated that song
I
so
hate
much.
I hate it. And I posted a little video, and I'm like, I fucking hate this song, right? And it's funny because I think it's funny because generally I'm a very positive person, and
Yeah,
my
and that's
stuff on
such a random
Instagram
thing to
is
hate.
very positive, and my posts are all like,
Right.
you know, I'm not usually negative.
Right.
But when you saw my Instagram stories in the context, I'm
Right.
like, I fucking hate this song so much. But then my next little video on Instagram was like, I'd rather hear a friendship song like this one, and it was a theme to the Golden Girls,
Right, and
right,
then-
and
and
then the
Wannabe.
next one was like, or this one,
Right,
and then it
right.
was Wannabe, or even this one,
was Friends.
and then it was Friends, but not this one. And then I go back to That's What Friends
Right,
Are For.
right.
There were people that were like, people that DM'd me were like, "Are you okay? Like, why do you hate the song so much? Are you angry?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, can't you see it's a joke? Like, thank you for your concern."
You're pissed that Gladys Knight did not win the Masked Singer. That's what it's all about.
Oh my god, I fucking hate that song so much. It's so fucking ridiculous.
I did not know that.
Oh,
I think that kind of tops. Well, no, it doesn't top the song that I hate most.
and coming to a second, like coming close. I wouldn't say I hate it. Is "We Are the World."
Is that because you like Famine?
No, "We Are the World" has not aged well. And those songs, when they were in, we were like of elementary school age. It was
yeah.
everywhere, and we had to do it in so many shows, and it was like,
That's
ugh.
true. That's true. Yeah, kids don't have those sappy songs to sing now.
No, now they sing "Old Town Road." And they ride till they can no more.
That sounds inappropriate for a child to say.
It don't matter.
No, it does. It sounds really bad.
So anyway, okay. So now that we got a little bit off
On
topic.
that tangent,
So what I wanted to talk about, that I think that this is kind of like a hot button issue in this cancel culture that we live in.
Yes.
Right. So it was made public this week that, you know, Stephen Ross is?
that's not the guy who paints, right?
No. Stephen Ross is the owner of Equinox Gyms.
Oh yes, yeah, okay,
and Soul
yeah.
Cycle.
Yes.
So
yes.
this week it came out that Stephen Ross is a Trump supporter. I don't know if it's so much that he's a conservative or like a Republican or a Trump supporter, but he nonetheless is.
He's having a fundraiser.
He's having a fundraiser,
Yes,
a very
yes.
lavish fundraiser at his house for Trump.
Yeah,
So as such, social media went wild.
as it's wont to do.
And you know, in this cancel culture, people are like, "I'm canceling my Equinox."
But this is one of the rare instances where in cancel culture you actually get to cancel something.
Right. I'm canceling my membership. It's like, first of all, jabroni. If you are going to Equinox, I already have issues over the fact that gym is like $100 a month
For a gym.
for a gym, just because they give you little towels that are rolled up.
Listen, I pay.
Have you ever been to Equinox?
I've never been inside
I've
one.
been to 2 Equinox because I'm like, let me check what this is about.
Right.
Right? Because you could get a day pass.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I've been to 2 of them.
Okay.
Right. They're very nice, but it's still the same treadmill with the same free weights
That are scattered everywhere.
that you have to lift yourself.
Right. That they're never where you want them to
It's
be.
not like, you know, you pay 100 or over 100. It's like over
It's
$100
ridiculous.
a month, and you have like a personal trainer.
Right,
Right.
right, right,
No,
right. No.
it's the same as like LA Fitness or whatever. They have trainers there if you want to train with them, but you got to pay for it. Now, you know, their locker rooms are nice.
Okay.
They do have little stations with rolled up little towels. Right.
Okay.
And that's it.
How long are you in the locker room that it has to be
that's,
nice?
That's it. That is it. Because I was like, coño, for this amount of money,
There better be something special.
I better be walking into like a spa, like
Right. Free massage after
it
every
has,
workout.
it has a sauna, like
Okay.
you know, 24-hour fitness, which is $29.99 a month. Has
That's
a
what I'm
sauna.
saying. I
It
go to
has-
freaking UFit for
it
$20 a
has-
month.
But let's say you want to splurge a little bit and go to like LA Fitness or
Okay,
like
$35 a month.
It has a pool, just like
Okay,
the one there,
okay.
but it's the same thing. It's the same exercise
Nah,
machines,
es
mind
para
you.
tirarte pedos a tu culo.
Right, and I'm thinking like, okay, from a dollars and cents point of view, like why? Y si tú me dices, bueno, because it gets crowded, but not as crowded as LA Fitness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, bueno, if you want a little bit more of like a private experience or
Charge
whatever,
45.
okay, maybe I will be willing to pay $20, $30, but you're talking about over $100 a month for a gym.
Yeah.
First of all, that doesn't even have that many locations, so you're gonna have to
that's
drive
true.
to the gym. Pero bueno,
I didn't even think about that.
back to
Ugh.
the issue at hand.
Stupid equinox.
Back to the issue at hand. So, cancel culture. Everybody wants to now cancel this guy, their memberships because this guy supports Trump. What do you think about that?
Well, you know what? This is a rare instance where I'm actually okay with it, and here's where I'm coming from with this. I've long since always said that if you have a problem with something, the way that people pay attention is with dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So in this instance, I do feel that if you do have a problem with his views or whatever issue with a particular company, the way that they respond, the way that it affects them is the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, okay, yes, you know what? If you really feel that strongly about it, you should cancel your membership. You know what I mean? And that because now you're taking an action against something and you're making your voice heard in a way that's very immediate. I don't know, and that's not the right word I'm trying to look at, but similar to like although it's delicious, racist chicken or homophobic chicken, you don't go to Chick-fil-A. You let them know that, with the money you do or do not spend there. So in this instance, I don't have an issue with it in the sense that...
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, as usually you're the one who does. But I would make the argument that in Chick-fil-A, it's a little bit different because... From what I know over the homophobic chicken, that's so delicious.
It's so delicious.
Why do I have to make these decisions in life? That's very much the company.
Don't even get me started on their transphobic waffle fries.
That's very much the company culture.
Right.
It's very much the company culture.
Right.
With Equinox, he's the owner. I mean, it's not like this is the board of directors or the people calling the shots in the everyday.
Is it a private company or are they franchisees?
I'm not sure.
See,
They're
because that's where that's where you can.
They're probably a private company.
Okay, that's where you can get me. If it's franchisees, then I have a different.
No, they're probably
approach.
a private. I'm pretty sure they're a private company. But again, the owner of a corporation, the owner, is not necessarily the person who calls the shots every day in terms of the company. And from what I know, I mean, this is not the company culture, right? And secondly. It's funny because I'm playing the devil's advocate here,
Right,
which
no,
generally I don't.
I'm usually
which
not, right.
generally, I see, in playing the devil's advocate, I see it from the point of view that the owner, can choose to endorse whoever the hell he wants.
No, I agree.
We live in a democracy, so if he wants
I don't
to,
disagree.
If he's invoking his rights as
His
an American
constitutional right,
to
yeah.
fundraise for who he ever wants.
No. But what I'm saying is, okay, I don't disagree with you.
Obviously, you as a consumer have the right to cancel.
But that's where I'm coming from. It's like if something comes to light and you as a consumer feel that this warrants you taking an action, there is in this instance an action to take.
I honestly, I'm a little bit about this. I'm going to tell you why.
I hate cancel culture in general.
I'm going to tell you why. I don't care for cancel culture.
But I feel like it's different when it's like an actor.
I just feel
or
that
something
for
like that.
a lot
It's
of
weird.
people, that let's say will cancel their membership, and I'm going to make a pretty bold
broad
statement,
okay.
a broad statement here, which I generally don't like to do. I feel a lot of people, especially that go to these high end gyms, whatever, are going to cancel this and put it on their Instagram to kind of take a stand, but probably wouldn't take a real stand, like protesting or a real protest.
I think that's absolutely right.
Or
I think that's a very
whatever,
fair statement to make.
or whatever, or marching in Washington, really protesting when it matters.
I don't disagree with that statement.
I think this is very hi, I'm on Instagram. Here's my Equinox card on fire.
This is social media. What is it? Social media justice warrior.
Yeah.
Where it's like, look, I love causes. Look at me, I'm feeding away.
You know who canceled and uncanceled was Andy Cohen.
He canceled and uncanceled.
Yeah,
his
because
membership
when
at
he
Equinox?
first found out, because of course Andy goes to, I mean Andy is always at the Hamptons with Anderson. Like, do you expect him to be a mere commenter and go to LA Fitness?
Mira que I like Anderson Cooper.
Or bueno,
Pero nada
he's
de
in New
con Andy
York.
Cohen.
He's in New York, the New York Sports Club.
That is a very good sports club.
The New York Sports Club
They
is
are.
a very good.
They
It's
are.
a
I
very
used
good.
To go to it. They're not cheap either.
No,
I
it's
paid
a very
$70
nice,
a month for a fucking New
It's a
York
very
Sports Club.
nice gym.
Yeah.
It was $70 a month.
Yes.
Oh.
And I lived in Queens.
Because like the Boston Sports Club was like, it's also nice, but it's nice, but I don't think it's that much nicer than LA Fitness.
No, it's not. It's the same. But remember, New York everything's more expensive.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, but he can't. He like I don't know went on Twitter or something. He's like, I'm canceling. But then he kind of thought about it. He goes, we kind of live in a cancel culture, and this man, we live in a democracy, and I could disagree with him and still go to the gym there.
Right. And what other gym is going to let him get handies in the locker room?
Oh, I wasn't going there. Why did you make that stereotype? You just made a stereotype.
Yes, I did.
That's uncalled for.
No, not when it's Andy Cohen. I can tell he's a dirty bitch.
Andy,
He's never going to
Ish
come on our
does
show
not
anyway.
represent the views and comments of Pero let me
It's
tell
not
you
like
as a
he's
whole.
ever going to show up on our show anyway.
Well, if he does, we won't be able to speak.
That's true.
Although I would love to have I would love to play.
I would have to put him in the same room as Chado and see who gets tired first.
Chado.
Because she's older.
No, because I think Chado will know when to listen, and
That's
Andy
true.
loves to hear himself talk.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
it's funny because I have a love-hate relationship with him.
I have a hate-hate relationship.
So you think people should cancel?
Well, no, I think that this is the rare instance where you're able to take a stand in a tangible way, and I do feel like if you feel a certain way about something, and you want to make yourself known, the pocket is is the easiest way to do it. If you genuinely believe, like if that's your genuine belief is that whatever X is happening is wrong. Now, if you're just doing it for the gram, then whatever with you, because
I also see it. I mean, I see this a little bit different than Chick-fil-A because I also think, okay, what about if it was the other way around? What about if somebody canceled their Equinox? Let's say that the owner of Equinox was this like, super duper liberal. That let's say he or she donates money or whatever to Planned Parenthood, and you are a member to Equinox, and you are against abortion. But
if you feel strongly about it, I think that you should cancel your membership too.
Okay.
I mean, because again, now we're talking about people's personal, the same way that he has the absolute right to back whoever he wants.
Differently. I see it differently in this particular case. That's why from the Chick-fil-A thing, because the Chick-fil-A thing, as I said, from what I know, and I could be wrong, the values that they hold, it's a very Christian. It's very much like Hobby Lobby, right?
Correct.
It's very much the values and morals, if you want to call it that, or point of it's a company culture.
Right.
I don't think this is the company culture. I just think that this happens to be the owner.
This is just
and
one person.
The ones who run this gym and makes these decisions for the gym are the board of directors. He just happens to be the money backing it, right? So I see it a little bit differently. And as much as I don't care for the president, I don't think I would cancel my gym. Well, I wouldn't have a gym.
And again, I don't disagree with, and I don't know that I would either. But if you feel strongly about that, then do it.
No, do it. I was just saying in terms of the cancel culture that we're
cancel
in.
culture is stupid. But I say this is the one instance where amidst cancel culture, you can actually cancel something.
Yeah, you could.
You could
Hi,
actually.
I'm calling to cancel my membership.
Right.
Hopefully they don't give you a hard time like it does to cancel Comcast.
Talk about the devil.
Anyway. Bueno, all this cancel culture has made me thirsty.
It's time for sodas. Sodas. So do you have your last soda ready?
do.
You do. Go for it. You go first. I went first last time.
Do you know who's going on tour? Or is going to have a concert? We should totally go.
Okay, wait. Do I get 3 guesses? Are you going to give me a hint?
She is probably our favorite thing that has come from the Dominican Republic.
Chanitin!
Yes!
Yes, viewthat.com tour.
That's what it's called?
Yes! I already looked it up. Actually, you know why I know about it? I don't know if it was you, because I know sometimes you take over your father's Instagram, but your father's
Maybe.
Instagram handle tagged me on it, and I was like, Roberto? Yes.
You talk about treasures. That woman is a treasure.
She is. She is a treasure. There's no doubt about it.
That woman should
She's
be,
even dorada.
she's, I mean, listeners out there, isn't Charitín like the best?
Wonderful. I always think of her singing with that scarf thing in the wind. In the on the ship. It was like a cruise ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the Norway.
The Norway. Yes.
What I love is
Aw.
her extreme like looks, because when I think of 80s Charitín, I think of like the long flowy hair, the big
I
hair.
never think of her with long hair.
No, because
I always think Charitín with like that.
no, because
short
that maybe
do.
in the 80s when you were a kid you didn't pay attention to
Probably
her.
not.
Because in the 80s when she had her Charitín,
Yeah. No,
that
I know.
that show, she was all about the hair, like the big 80s long hair. And then she kind of went away for a little bit, for a couple of years. And then she came back with the new Charitín show, in which she had, she was like platinum, like white blonde.
Yes.
And she had a flat top.
Yes.
She looked like the guy, the
She looked like Susan
Russian.
Powder.
No, she looked like the Russian in Rocky IV.
Dolph Lundgren?
Yes. And I think she was so bold. It's like
She was almost like Taylor Dane.
And then as the 90s subsided, she had she grew out her hair was still short, but it was like
She had, like,
a little
bangs.
softer look,
Right.
a little softer look.
Right, and
Como que ella hace, wow.
She is wonderful. If you were to hook her up, she could probably power a small city.
Yeah, she's one of these people that like
She would tire out Andy Cohen.
it's just joy. It's just joy.
It
Charitín
is.
is just joy.
Actually, I would love to have her on the show.
Yeah, I mean, what a better name than Charitín? I mean, if your name is Charitín, you were born to do what she does.
Yeah. If you were born Charitín, Cher, Madonna, like your path was chosen for you.
You're not gonna be Charitín from accounting.
Exactly.
I who brought these muffins today. Oh, Charitín from accounting.
Oh, now I want there to be a Charitín in accounting.
Or Charitín from HR.
No, you cannot be Charitín and be an HR.
No, she'll be Chari or Char or Chair.
No. That's too brazen of a name for HR.
No, yeah.
HR has to be like a Diana.
No, I think she'll probably be a Cher.
Yeah.
Cher from HR.
Yeah.
But then when you see her real name, it's like, oh, Charitín.
Charitín.
Wait, is that her real name? I think that's her real
Charitín.
name.
Probably.
Okay, we'll look this up. But so yes, my
And
last.
she's probably here in Miami.
I think we should totally go. You know what's
we
so
should.
funny? I don't think I know any of her songs, but
I couldn't tell you one song of hers. I've met her. I have met her at some opening thing that she was there, and it was just like
when Juanes was there too.
it was it was during one of the many Juanes concerts I went to. No, she was just like she was just like a ball of energy when she came out of the car. It was just like Charitín is here.
Clearly.
Yes.
Charitín. Yep. So my last quote goes to Charitín.
Oh, as
the
it should.
wonderful Charitín.
The
She may be
timeless-
Dominican, but she's all of us. She belongs to the world.
Ella es verdad. Ella es la chica del mundo. So my last soda is actually it's a little more like just something that's making me feel good right now.
The Heifer Corporation.
The Heifer. Listen, the Heifer Corporation has gotten more earned media dollars from us than it even knows about. We should write them a letter. Be like, listen, no, because this this week was just shitty with all the the stuff about the shootings and just the world's going to hell in a handbasket, as old people would say. I've been watching a lot of adoption videos.
Oh. Okay. I've been watching a lot of Head of the Class on YouTube because I found this channel that has old episodes of Head of the Class. But yeah, go ahead.
I've just been watching videos of people now they film everything.
Right.
So it's people who film when they present their kid, it was like, oh, I have a gift for you, and then they open up the box and I guess there's a certificate or something that says they're adopted, and the kids just all burst out into tears.
Oh,
and then,
yeah, that's so sweet.
And then the parents start crying, and then I start crying, and it's just it just reminds me that for all of the shit that we hear about, all the horrible things that happen on a daily basis, there's still so many wonderful, good human beings.
I'm
out there.
happy you said that. We ended on a light note with Charitín and adoption.
And adoption. And I know you work for the Guardian ad litem, so obviously you see what a difference having a good role model or a good loving base can do for these children. And just to see that, like one of them that I saw today was this one girl who the parents, I think she had been in foster care for like maybe 3 years before she got to them, and they adopted her. But then in addition to her, they also found out that she had 2 biological siblings, and they adopted those kids as well. So now all the siblings get to grow up together, and it was just a reminder to me that it's not all doom and gloom and horribleness.
No, it's not.
And we need to really take a step back and remember that, because there's that old news saying where if it bleeds, it leads. But that's not the majority of the world. No. And I really want all of our listeners to think
I feel that we're always complaining, and there's a lot of complex and really messed up things in the world. And I always say, when anybody commends me for doing volunteer work or charity or being a guardian ad litem or whatever, people are like, why do you do it? And I'm like, I want it to be part of the solution, not the problem.
Yeah.
And I feel that if more people had that attitude, and something they also ask me is, they ask me like, oh, do you feel great on how these, you've changed these kids' lives? I'm like, yeah, but they've changed me, because you do this for those intentions of like helping them out, but they change you.
You
and
can't help
I
it
feel that if people did things like that, if people did more things that were selfless and knew more about those stories, like the ones that you said, a lot of things would be different. That's not going to fix everything. That's not going to.
No, but it brings perspective.
But it gives you it gives you a very, very good perspective, because as I've said, pertaining to children, you hear of children being abused, you hear of children being neglected, you hear all these terrible things that happen to children. But if you don't come from a household like that, if you come from a household that from a
like most of us, thankfully,
from a good household or a privileged household, that's something you only hear about. But when you see in front of you a children that has been molested, a children that has been raped, or a children that has been neglected, abused, whatever, it puts a whole different face on it. It makes it real. And so yeah, that's a great thing. That's a good one. Adoption videos.
Yeah.
Adoption videos. Because just think about how happy those kids are to just have something as basic as stability, but
family,
all that, but just
love.
Something as basic as a parent.
Yeah. Which we take for granted.
Yeah.
How many times don't we see our phones and be like, oh, I'll call my mom later?
Yeah.
And these kids just
a parent.
It's so simple.
And that is a game changer.
Yeah.
It's made me like a total emotional bitch.
The older I get, the more I cry at everything. I'm so dreading Thanksgiving when the Publix commercials start.
Okay. University of Phoenix has a commercial going on right now about the dragon.
Oh, I love that commercial.
The last scene of the little boy looking up, like that the dragon, like I get.
Okay.
Actually, what?
University of Phoenix had this other one that it was like animated, that it was like, all my life.
I'm going to tell you something.
I could not stop crying. And it was cartoons.
I'm going to tell you
Oh
something.
my God, we're getting so weepy.
And I'm going to share it.
I'm only 2 days into my 40s. Is this what it's all about?
I'm going to share this.
Okay.
And, usually I'm very about.
You're very reserved.
Reserved about personal things. Okay. You know me very well.
Yes.
And you know that I strive to be nice to people. Like, strive to just be nice. And I'm never, ever, ever rude. Ever. I'm never demanding. Not to say that you're rude or, like, one of our friends is rude, but you're a lot more, like, you're the type that would complain in a restaurant,
I have.
You have. And that doesn't make you a bad person, but I'm not. Like, it has
You're
to
more
be,
accommodating.
they have to, like, spit in my face for me to complain. Like,
I would hope.
I always try to be very, very, very kind to people, to a fault sometimes. Like 3 years ago, the subway next to my job, to my office, there was
The Subway restaurant.
Subway, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, yes, the subway.
Yeah, well, no, because that's why. It's like
the subway station,
right? The submarine station, because we're sea level.
The subway by
Restaurant.
my house, by my office. you know, Subway during lunch, it gets like packed, and you know, there's always that one obnoxious person, you know,
Who's always in a hurry.
Ordering for like, you know, 5 people in the office or whatever. And that day I was like really stressed out, and I was like in a hurry, and it was taking forever. And the lady who helped me out, I could tell was new. And I was short with her. And I know this sounds stupid, and I can't believe I'm saying this publicly.
No.
But I was short with her. Like, I remember she was like, "Oh, do you want me to toast the bread?" And I'm like, no, don't toast it. And she was new, so she was,
Right.
you know,
She was trying to help, but
and you know, she was gonna put like, I don't know, something that I didn't want. I'm like, no, don't put tomatoes. Like, I was short with her, and the reason why I remember this very well is because this woman was like probably in her late 60s, early 70s, and you could tell this was not her first job. And I thought, this woman is probably like my parents' age, you know, who probably lost her job and needs to make ends meet, and here she is working at a Subway, because you do what you got to do, right? And I felt so guilty when I left that Subway. I know this is so stupid. I'm so sorry. I felt so guilty because I go to that Subway a lot, and I never saw her again. And I thought,
what if
she didn't make it? She didn't make the cut because like that. And I never, this happened like 3 or 4 years ago. I never forgot the woman, because I'm like, this woman again, you know, La Pobre, she probably lost her job, and now here she was, you know, who at 60 some 70
is like, let me go become a manager at Subway, or right,
you know, be making, not that there's anything wrong with that, but after having another job, you know, nobody sees themselves doing that, starting brand new, you know, ella estaba toda ariada, and I was like, I wasn't my best version of myself with her, and I felt so guilty, like so guilty, that I never ever forgot her. Well, last week I go to that Subway, and she was there. And I ask her, "Oh my God, you still work here?" Because I remember, I'm like, "How long have you worked here?" She's like, 4 years, like 3-4 years. And I'm like, "I remember when you started." And she's like, "Yeah, because the thing is, I usually work afternoons because I pick up my granddaughter and whatever. I take care of my granddaughter, so I usually work afternoons. But now in the summer, or whatever, I'm working, whatever." And I tell her, "Look, you're probably not going to remember me because you see probably hundreds of people in a week. But when you started, you know, I remember when you started that you were new, and you were like, one day I could tell you were new, and you didn't really know what you were doing, and I was like very short with you, and I felt really guilty about it all these years. So I just want to apologize." And she was like, "Ay, mijito, no te preocupe." No. But I was like, "No, I just want to apologize because I felt that, you know, I was like rude to you at a moment that like,
and for no reason,
you know, at probably a really tough moment, because you were starting this job that you probably didn't want to have, and you know, and doing, you know, whatever. I mean, I didn't go into detail with her, but in my mind, and I don't know, I apologized to her. But it was funny because it's like, when you were talking about that, I was like, you know, it's one of those things that it's like a small thing, you know, because I was very short with her, and maybe that, you know, maybe she paid no attention to it, but maybe she did. Maybe she went home that day. She's like, "Hey, people are so rude," and you know.
Or what if she went home that day and she quit?
And I never saw her again. I was like, so I don't know. I always try to be just kind to people every day, and you know, some days you win and some days you lose, but that's all that I try. And why do we end?
I know we're getting so maudlin. And you know what? I'm going to push you further down the modeling thing, because I will say I've known you forever, and I will say I know you're talking about that short moment you had, but I don't think that your son could ask for a better person to emulate.
Oh my God.
Because you genuinely do care about people, and that's just something that, listen, I wouldn't be friends with you still if you were an asshole. I mean,
well, you know, some people like assholes.
Well, I mean, you have to have one in the group.
How many people love Dan Bilzerian?
You know what? It's true.
Maybe Dan Bilzerian in real life is like a total like.
Maybe he prays the rosary every night before he crawls into bed with 20 women.
But yeah, I just try to be nice to people.
That's not that hard.
Anyway, everybody, on that note, well, this took a turn.
This really took a turn, like at the last minute too. This is like a Shyamalan twist.
Yeah. Oh my God. I see dead people.
Oh no! Are they behind me?
No.
Okay.
Anyway, well, everybody, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned, and you now
You may
cried.
have cried, yeah. Like I mean, there's no alliteration there,
University of Phoenix commercial. Hashtag University of Phoenix dragon commercial. The part, I'm telling you, the part with the little boy that he's like, it's like the dragon.
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this like next, like where's the next commercial? But anyway, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned, and cried.
Yep.
And as always, grab your pastelito, your croqueta.
Listen, laugh, learn, and lágrimas.
Your piña. That's like a shirt. Another shirt.
Another shirt.
And thank you for joining us. That was our Diamond Jubilee.
Our Diamond Jubilee. Yes.
We laughed, cried, and learned.
Yes. All right, mi gente. Bye.
And just like a morning